Hi, my name's Duncan Bridges, and I'm at Steam with my GBC. And the first module I have here is the Rotator, which is a little rotator from somebody else's design, but I've modified it a bit. And it goes into a little workaround where we've had a failed module, which then goes into a track conveyor over here.
Okay, let's wait to see where the balls go. There we go.
And it goes into a little track conveyor, which then goes into the xylophone from PBS Productions. And then from there it goes into the banana drop.
So it makes a noise every time the balls go?
Yeah, it makes a noise when it does balls.
That's cool.
And the banana drop is using the banana Technic bits from the bucket conveyor. And then it goes to my favourite contraption, which is the cup to cup. There's lots of versions of the cup to cup, and lots of people get mesmerised by it by watching the cups. We have to wait for a few balls to go in there. No, there you go.
Oh, it's quite seamless.
And then it goes into my next, which is another banana drop type thing, just a different version. And then that goes into the sweeper, which sweeps the balls onto the next module. These are all my own creations, but using other people's ideas.
Inspirations, isn't it?
Yeah, and then we have the shovel, which shovels the balls into the next one. That is somebody else's design, which I've made from instructions, but sort of used my own parts rather than the actual parts that they say. So I've changed it slightly. This one, the slicer dicer, is actually taken from some Australian guys that I've seen on YouTube, and I've just worked out how they did it and made it myself.
Right.
And then the next one is my Jurassic Park roller coaster. This is my actual own creation. I just took the ideas from other people and thought, yeah, let's make some balls go through Jurassic Park. You see some dinosaurs there.
Quite a few of them.
And there's a couple of lost balls in there. I'm sure the dinosaurs will have them for breakfast later on. The next one is just another conveyor type thing on track, which goes to my pinball shovel drop. So basically the balls make their way to the shovels, and once the shovels get enough balls, they go down and it goes into the next module. So it takes about 4 or 5 balls before they drop. Hopefully get a ball in a minute.
And there's one there that's unmoving. There we go.
There we go, and it dropped. And the next module is the pinball. This is actually from instructions. The conveyor takes it up and the balls work their way down. Sometimes they go through the basketball, sometimes they don't. So they just work their way down to whichever way they want to do it. And I'll hand you on to Jonathan next.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
My name's Jonathan Hurwitt. I'm one of the oldest Brickish members for my sins, and only got into this a year ago. So, but then here I am.
So this is your part?
My stretch, yes.
Right. So what is it? So it starts here, does it?
Yeah. First module's developed from a Mako Arts stepper unit. We like stepper units because they can hold a lot of balls when you get a problem, and then just feed them out at a nice rate. Mm-hmm. Next is Solaire by Great Ball Pit, which is a display favourite used by just about everybody. Next is Great Ball Pit again, that's his whirligig. Then we have the Donahue conveyor belt from Brickworld, followed by another Brickworld Sawtooth, which is this year's model.
I like how that moves though, that's quite fun.
Yeah, doesn't pick them up quite as well as it could, but it gets through them. Then there's a very simple little lunar rover, GBC rover from Lorry G, which is again a nice simple little one. And then a really tiny
I
little
like the
sweeper.
timing. I mean, you've worked out that the balls don't fall until the scooper's ready.
Oh, the timing on that one is critical. Yes.
Absolutely. I think otherwise it would fall everywhere.
Yeah, it's occasionally it misses, but most of the time it gets there. But then we have this tiny little sweeper unit feeding into a run of 3 by Rick Field. This is his industrial bucket with an extension bucket, which is I've tried it with 3 buckets, and it's just too critical trying to keep them all in sync.
Yeah, because it just throws them into it, so it just needs to...
Yeah. Then into his tumble dryer, which is a nice one. It's quite nice to watch. And then into his latest one, which is the dual bucket.
So it's random, it goes on either side, the balls, and then
depending on
whichever
how they come in, yes. Then coming into my high lift, which lifts them up into a zigzag, which can make your eyes go quite funny as it strobes down through that. Then into another little Mako Arts based stepper unit, which has been modified to feed into the Ferris wheel.
Oh my goodness.
The Ferris wheel is a PV Productions design from one of their... It's one sub-module out of one of their bigger sets. But it was the only bit of it I wanted to build. And yeah, it is quite spectacular to watch.
It is impressive. I mean, it's just like for everything else, just the timing of everything. It has to be just right.
Yes.
And work at all times.
Then that comes out into a spiral and into yet another stepper unit.
Your favourite.
And from there it feeds into Huw's stretch.
And here's Huw.
Good morning. Good morning.
Hello.
Hi. Right, so yes, this is my section here. I've got 3 tables of machines with me today. The first one being this scissor lift, which works very slowly, and I quite like it like that because people think it's stopped and then all of a sudden it springs up and pushes the balls across to the next module, which is a double unit based upon a machine designed by a gentleman in France. And most people just run it with 1 arm, but I built it here with 2, which makes it a bit more interesting. So yes, it's all about the timing there, getting the balls so that they just fall off the edge at the right time.
Pretty much everything I've noticed, just critical timing for everything.
Yes. Here then I've just got a space filler there ready to accept the balls from that unit, which pushes them into the edges of the basket there so it doesn't fit every machine. And now we've come on to one which is based on a design by somebody in Australia. I saw it in a video of the brick benching event earlier in the year that happens in Melbourne, and thought that was a cool mechanism, so I've reverse engineered it from his video.
And your skeleton there, having fun?
Yes, somewhat superfluous, but the original machine had a skull on it which was rotating, so I thought I'd do something similar. Now we come to my ball accelerator, which is my own design. There are plenty of ball accelerators around, but this one I've designed myself. Whizzes the balls up the ramp into what is perhaps my favourite and most famous creation, which is my side-to-side stepper.
Oh, that's nice.
Makes a lovely swishing noise as the balls go side to side. And now we come to my...
You can see you've been daring on this one. Did you create this? Is your own creation?
It is. I've been working on this one for 2 years. I saw something similar to this little mechanism here a while ago and thought I'd build something around it. And it's taken such a long time to get this right, but this is the first time I've had it at a show where it's actually worked reliably. So I'm very happy about that.
Yeah, because it is daring to try and just chuck it to the other side.
Yeah.
Thank goodness for that.
Now we come to a rainbow stepper. The original one, Jonathan over there copied my one, but there you go. Yeah. And then this is a fairly common to see these ex-racers racetrack pieces being used as for a module here. I'm using it to turn the corner. Most of those that I've seen are way too complicated, so this one I've stripped to the basics. You know, it's exactly a very simple frame that is holding it up.
And just pushes the balls around to the corner.
Yep.
And to this side.
The next one pushes balls up a slope. Again, I have seen similar mechanisms at shows. This one is my own design based upon what I remember seeing. That's actually a very reliable unit. That never fails. And it'll accept hundreds of balls without any problem. Now this next stepper is interesting because it's the first one I've built which has been featured on Planet GBC, and I'm very happy about that.
Oh,
and
nice.
Instructions for that one are now available on Planet GBC, and several people around the world have built it, and I'm happy to see it replicated.
Very nice. So that's just to get through to allow humans to get through to the inside, isn't it?
Yes, yeah. It's worth having a look at the display here because this is something I've introduced this year, which is a ball counter based upon a BBC microbit.
Very sick. There we go.
So as the balls pass up the conveyor belt, they flick a switch, which then triggers the counter on the BBC microbit, and it's showing us the number of balls that have passed, balls per minute, and the run time. So 58 balls per minute actually is a pretty good rate. I'm surprised to see it as high as that. It recalculates that every minute.
Very nice.
So that's our bridge to get across. A lovely clapping noise as they come down there. Now we're coming into Jamie Douglas's section, and as I can't see him around, I shall talk you briefly through these.
Okay.
I think these are all fairly standard units there. Another stepper, another pusher-upper ramper.
This feels more compact than the other ones.
Yes. Jamie has bought reliable machines with him this year because he didn't want to be standing around all weekend, and so far they proved to be that.
They just work. This is nice though.
Yes, this one is based upon an Akayuki design, I believe, who's the master builder for GVC modules. And a nice, reliable machine.
And then we head up into someone else's design.
We do, yes. Jonathan Gale's ginormous world record-beating GVC module. I'll hand the microphone over to him.
I think we should, yes. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Hi, John.
Hi there.
So, now this is your part of the Great Ball Contraption and the last final part. Can you talk me through it a bit?
Yeah, so this is my Great Ball Contraption, my GBC tower. This is something that I created about 3 weeks ago. I finished it. I started it about a year ago, and I've literally just finished it about 3 weeks ago for a show in Caterham, organised by London AFOLs, and then realised a week ago that I could actually come here. So I contacted the organisers here and thought I'd bring it with me. It's 59 kilos, so in Imperial, so US, that's probably about 135, something like that, pounds in weight. It is around about 2.5, 2.6 metres tall, I think, around about 8'6", something like that in terms of height. What else? There's 192 pieces of Lego train track in it. There are probably 30 to 40,000 bricks in total. There's about 30 metres of these down tracks that the balls are rolling back down on. It's driven by 8 of Lego's extra large motors with another 2 in the ball pump that actually returns the balls back to the table. Around about 5,000 2x4 white bricks, probably around about 1,000 Technic 1x14 bricks. Many thousand transparent parts. There's around about 20,000 transparent parts just in the rings alone, and a few more in the rest of the tower. At the moment in the display, it takes about 8.5 minutes for a ball to actually get into the base of the tower, roll all the way around,
So which is down there.
and then come back down again.
And then, so the first wheel takes them all the way up to the top, and they fall to the second wheel, and on again and again. That's the process?
That
isn't it?
is, yeah, that's exactly it. So the balls basically get lifted up. There's kind of little buckets effectively in each of the wheels. So each of those buckets is capable of holding quite a lot of balls. If you get too many balls in a bucket, then the weight of the balls will actually slow the tower down. So normally you'll see there's about 4 or 5 balls in each of the buckets. That seems to be about the level that works. If you get too many, it does slow it down a bit, and that will cause the whole thing to slow down, which means more go into the buckets and it slows down even more. But it's relatively self-regulating. It's been pretty reliable. It's running off of the mains for half of the power, and then half of it's running on batteries, and then I need to swap the batteries over every 3 hours or so for the other ones to recharge, and it pretty much just keeps going. I brought it with me to this show. There's two large white storage boxes behind the tower. The whole thing packs down into those boxes, and then a few more bits into a bag that goes on top of those. Those go onto a trolley, and it actually came to the show with me on a train this year. So that was quite entertaining, bringing it on a train. It was 5 trains, and I discovered that one of the stations in London doesn't have a lift. So carrying 40 to 50 kilo boxes. So I think the heaviest box was around about 100 pounds in weight. And that had to be carried up a flight of stairs, across a bridge, down a flight of stairs, back onto the trolley again. So yeah, it was quite an effort bringing it here. I'm glad I brought it because it's been going down quite well.
No, it's remarkable. I've never seen anything like it, I must tell you.
And this is the 3rd Great Ball Contraption module that I've ever actually built. So I got a bit carried away.
Yeah, you've gone big. Yes.
And yeah.
So it comes up here, goes all the way to the top, back down, and down to this little slope down there.
Yeah, so this unit that brings the balls back up to the table, this is actually it's a ball pump module that's loosely designed off of the Brick World 2018 Great Ball Contraption ball pump. So that module is actually available to just download instructions online for free from I can't remember the website, I'm afraid, but there's a website that you can get them from, and I've increased the power to it, increased the sort of sturdiness of it to give a little bit more kind of chance of the balls to get up, and significantly extended the length of the ball pump, and it pumps up, I don't know, 50 or 60 balls into the neck of the ball pump. Up they come across this little plank, which this kind of this tray here that actually runs as a nice little barrier to keep the public away from the tower itself, and they come across at a nice speed and drop off and then into the next module, and
Which is back to where we started.
which is back to the start.
Oh my God. Amazing. I can't believe how big this is. Well, this was a lot of fun to see, and thank you very much for showing me around, and to the other collaborators.
Thank you very much. Nice talking to you.